Kingsley, Osei. I am the founder of Optimum Grading. Essentially, what everything, as you guys know, starts with film. I've been fortunate enough where I started off my career in IT. So I was one of those guys where I graduated high school in '99, went to college. It was the fall. Some of you guys know about the whole Y2K thing where they thought the banking system was going to shut down and everything. My high school didn't even have computers in it. We were still on typewriters, back then. When I was a redshirt freshman at Purdue, I went to my advisor one day because I seen some kids in my dorm room floors, they were taking apart computers and everything like that. And I thought that was the most fascinating thing. Never knew that there would be this much technology in sports. I ended up leaving football, got a computer science degree, but never knew that I could apply technology to the game of football. In 2010, got a job with the Chicago Bears. I came in doing all the technology things for the Bears. Developed a really good relationship with the head coach, Lovie Smith. Lovie was a guy where, as he moved on from team to team, he brought me along with them. My role started shifting, right? The more you can do for the coaches, they feel like they can't move on and leave you behind. Lovie took me to Tampa Bay. With the Buccaneers, my role shifted from IT to football technology. I was researching things like, does VR really work? All those football technology things. I stayed in the office with the coaches day in, day night. And I talked to the head coach one day. I said, I want to get into coaching, right? Brought me into coaching, didn't really know what to expect because I had never sat in the rooms with them, even though I worked in the same building with them. Well, what I started seeing was that, there were missing tools in there, so obviously everything starts with film. That's why, you got to have good film. Now, from the film, the coaches go back and evaluate it, right? So whether it's Catapult, DB Sport, Huddle, Quick Cut, whatever it is, these platforms are built for you guys to store film, break it down, generate reports. I think they all missed the missing piece where coaches actually evaluate the film, right? They evaluate the film, so that's where we come in place. We don't replace those systems. We built a system that allows you guys to watch your film and evaluate what you're watching. We want to be able to track everything to the T, right? That way you guys can help your players in their development, or the coaches can help their players in development. This tool here allows coaches to customize what are they looking for in a position group. Right, so now as I'm watching film, all of the information is on the screen with me. As some of you guys have worked with coaches in the past, you'll notice that these guys do not like to waste time, right? Coaches, if there's a platform where it takes 3 clicks to do something, they're not going to do it. We built a system where it's the fastest possible way for coaches to evaluate players, but again, it tracks everything. When I was on this in coaching, there was a question that came up one day. And it took us the entire morning to figure the question out. So Lovie Smith asked us one time, how have our linebackers performed versus high-low route concepts? Because we were game planning for Purdue, and in the red zone, that was the top route concept that they had, right? So you guys know this in coaching, when you go back to the film, you filter out by those plays, and you're basically watching it. It took us the entire morning. I'm sitting there, with a computer science degree, and I'm like, man, there's got to be a better way for us to do this. If we've done something once already, it shouldn't take us the entire morning to go over something we've already done. So in our system here, it literally would track everything for the players, right? Also, historically, coaches have been evaluating players. They usually evaluate players on a sheet of paper, or they evaluate players in an Excel file, something they put together. I always tell coaches that from my experience in building this software, realize that those grades that they give to the players are inaccurate. This is what I mean by that. See in this example here, this guy here graded out 62% in this, I think this was an entire season I graded, okay? When you give a player a grade like that, it doesn't give any context to the player. So whether a player graded out at 85% or 45%, it's all the same to the player. There's no context behind it, right? If I grade out 85%, was my technique good in this game? Did I blow my assignments? Was I properly aligned? That's the same questions that the guy that got 45% has got to understand. So you can see this is a software that breaks everything down to the T, and we make sure that everything linked back to the video clips. That way, there's no any issues. The players are not going to complain about anything. Now, as we were building the software, also one of the things that came up is players are starting to get paid now, right? Coaches now need a better way to compensate a player, a better way to structure player compensation. We just got 3 FCS programs that signed up using our software. Where they're using this software, not just to grade the players and help with development, but they're structuring the compensation, a way for them to compensate the players. They all came to me and said, look, we don't have money like the FBS program, but we want to pay the players based on what they're doing on the field. And how do you do that? How do you go about tracking all of that? We demonstrated to these coaches that we have a tool that can be used to help you structure that. Some of these programs are basically going to create a structure where we have a base salary that we're going to pay this position group, whatever that salary is. We're grading you on X, Y, Z. After 3 games, if your grade is between this, 80, 85, whatever, you can earn X amount of dollars, right? If it's between 86 and 90, you can earn whatever. So basically, they're putting together a structure to send to the players so that they don't have to front load the money to the players without getting a return from the players. The other thing is, with this whole NIL, the transfer portal and all of that stuff, we also realized that recruiting has shifted drastically, right? I remember when I was working in Illinois, we would have like recruits on campus. We would make jokes to these recruits, hey man, if you walk around Green Street and 4th and Green Street at midnight, we find a briefcase over there and it's got $10,000, we don't know nothing about it, And now we can literally hold the briefcase up, count every bit of the dollar, and ask them everything there and hand it to them. You know what I mean? So everything's changed. And since it's changed, the high school kids are the ones being hurt the most. 85% of our customers are at the high school level. And these coaches will say that, man, back in the days, it was a lot easier, man. We were getting a lot of kids into these colleges, but now coaches are going straight to the portal, right? So I asked the coaches, I said, well, what are you guys doing to help the players out recruiting-wise? Right? What are you guys doing extra? Because the players have historically leaned on highlights to send to the college coaches. And now that the players are getting paid, these coaches need more information, more data, right? So how do you go about it? One of the things that our software does is it'll generate an on-field transcript report for the players, right? So it's a 2-page report. It's capturing every single thing the player's done from the coach's grading. This way, at the end of the year, all you have to do is send this to the college coaches. Even if they're not our customers, the beauty of this is it allows them to verify all this information. So, instead of them sitting there watching every single clip, every single play, now they're getting this report before watching a single play. They can tell, or they can say, "Oh man, this kid can play, or he can't play." We make sure every single data point in here link back to the video clip. They can literally click on anything in here. It'll pull up a list. It'll pull up a list for them, right, of everything the player's done right or wrong, and then they can load this up. I cut the link off. But you'll see that it's a 2-page report on here, right? And everything in this report is verifiable. So now high school kids can actually send their on-field transcript, which reflects their school transcript. The way I talk to coaches, because sometimes coaches will say, oh, we don't want to put the bad stuff on there. I say, well, coach, if your kid had an F in math class, can you take that from the school transcript when you send it to the school? You can't do that. And then hiding this, like other schools are sending this information to college coaches. So the kids that are actually sending this to college coaches, they're now getting a competitive edge, right? So again, when most people see our platform, the first thing they say is, oh, well, we already use Catapult, we use DB Sport, we use Huddle. I said, well, we're not a video system. Well, basically, we created that missing element to complete the coach's toolbox, right? And that's what this software is. It is not a video exchange tool. It works with it. That way, we streamline the coaching process. And with that being said, let me know if anyone has any questions for me. Go ahead.
So how do you connect Huddle to this?
Yeah, so good question. So when I first started building this software, from my experience on the other side, I knew it was going to be a difficult task to work with the video company, especially Huddle, right? So initially we built this software in a way where you can grade without film, right? Just like I just turned the film off on here. Once we got it to market, I reached out to all the giants. Huddle came back and they told us, oh, well, we don't work with third-party companies, we have an internal policy. So I asked them, I said, well, if we have mutual customers, wouldn't you want what's best for your customers? Because that's what we do. We want what's best for the customers. They wouldn't work with us, so we built it without them. Everyone has access to export their film from Huddle. We just built a mechanism. We have an import function. So you basically import your breakdown data, you import the video clips, and that's how we get everything in here. Right? So we're able to tie the video clips to the play. The other thing that we've done with the software is I tell coaches that breakdown data is critical. It literally can answer any question you have regarding your player's on-field performance, right? What I mean by that is, if you want to know is Johnny using better technique when his mom's at the game or not, and on days that it's raining outside, right? Well, how do you get that information? Our software allows you to create that column in Huddle, call it Johnny's mom, just put yeses and nos in there. You can run a report, it'll tell you exactly how it's performing, and everything is verifiable by clicking on it. Right? So that's how we tie it in. We just let the teams upload their film breakdown data, and then the software takes care of everything else. Okay. Man, this thing is broken. Still 8 minutes on it. Oh no, I've been 8 minutes for like 8 minutes.
You're good.
Yep. So, any other questions? If you guys get time, just take a look at it. I always tell coaches, because I was at a clinic last weekend, and I was talking to some coaches, and they were like, oh, we don't grade our players. And I said, Coach, even if you're not using the software, you got to be able to provide feedback to the players. You get mad at the players, but the players don't understand what they're doing right or wrong, right? The only way to give them that feedback is to use a tool like this, or at least at the very least on every play, write feedback and pass it on to them so they can know what they've done right or wrong on every single play. And that's it.